Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the GDQ Hotfix. This week, we got a real special race for you guys. We have SpeedRunsLive Season 2, Week 4. It's a game we all know, we all should know, we all should love it. It's Chameleon Twist, all stages. And with me here, I have a couple of wonderful commentators. I'm, of course, Sent, and I have my good friend and always elusive man who is conducive to the speedrunning community. We got Boney Drop. Boney, how are you doing?
That's a new description. All right. Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, Boney. So, Season 2, Week 4. What are SRL seasons? Explain this to me, man.
All right. Yeah, we'll do a quick recap for anyone who may be new. So this is a few month-long event that we're doing. Basically, every single week we will reveal a new game, and we will give everyone who wants to play that game about a week to learn the game, learn the speed run, kind of optimize their run and their practice as much as they possibly can to prepare for the races the following 2 weeks, or the following week, excuse me. And we'll pretty much just continue that pattern for about 9 weeks in total. So just again, they'll learn the game for a week, try to get as good as they can, finish as well in the race as they possibly can, and we'll just keep continuing that pattern. And once we're at the end of our 9th week and our 9th game, we will cut to the top 16 final bracket, and we'll explain how that works a bit more later in the season. But we're in week 4 right now. We have seen SMB 1, we have seen Quake 2, Ninja 5.0, and here we are at our first and probably only, but no promises, only a N64 game, Chameleon Twist. And I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds good, Boney. Now, if someone needed a little more information on SRL seasons, where would they go online to find out?
Yep. So you can go to the speedrunslive.com site and click, there's this little seasons button on the top of the banner, and you can click that for more details on how the whole thing works. And you can check out the leaderboards there as well, which we can actually show on stream right now if we have that handy, just to kind of give you an idea of how people are doing. So again, we're 3 weeks in, long way to go. This is not conclusive of how the final results will appear 6 weeks from now. But as you can see, we have Ramses on the top. He is pretty much killed it every single week, learning every game from scratch. So I think he's definitely someone to watch out for. We have about 67, I think, people who are in this season so far, at least in some form. They've joined at least one race. So that number will surely keep growing as people enter more races. And just as a reminder, that deducted column is essentially what their final points will be. We're just deducting their worst 2 scores from their grand total of all the 9 races they do. So if they just don't join 2 races, it's no big deal. Will be very relevant later in the season, but right now, I think the total is more important to look at.
Yeah, I was going to throw it out. You know, we are 4 races into the season. The 4th one will be this afternoon, just half an hour from now. But it is certainly not too late to join. Remember, you only need to make top 16 to advance on into that finals bracket. And there's still plenty of time. There's still plenty of points to be had. So, I mean, if this is something that sounds interesting to you, you know, watch today, get ready for the reveal, learn the game, and join us next week for sure.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess on that note, you look at 12th and 13th place on there, you see Brain Fluid and LK. They have, so they're top 13 right now, and they've only joined 1 race. They happen to win the race they joined, but clearly you can come back pretty quickly if you join the rest of the races and at least put some effort into it. So feel free to join. Not too late at all.
And you definitely should. It's a really fun way to get into speedrunning if you're kind of new to the scene, or, you know, just pick up some new speed games if you're an experienced veteran who's been thinking, man, I should really take some time to learn something. But let's shift the focus a little. Let's talk a bit more about today's game. We're going to be playing Chameleon Twist, and specifically Chameleon Twist all stages. So we're going to need someone who's a little more knowledgeable about that game to help us out. We have a great person here. He is a master of both Quest and Chameleons. We have Bing Chang. Bing, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing well. So, Chameleon Twist, Bing. Let's just jump right into it. Give us a quick synopsis. 10 seconds or less. Describe this game.
You're a chameleon, and you spin a lot.
Do you spin or do you twist?
He twist.
Okay.
That is a very important distinction. This is not Chameleon Spin. This is Chameleon Twist. So I mean, Chameleon Twist, it's kind of your standard run, jump, tongue, action N64 platformer. There's not anything too crazy. You can kind of pogo off of your tongue, and there is a lot of advanced movement. You have basically full control of your tongue while it's outside of your mouth to a certain extent, correct?
Yep.
Now, would it be fair to say this is a game that's not, super technically difficult? We're not going to run into any, one-frame tricks here. We're not going to run necessarily the hardest stuff. Oh, I'm wrong, apparently.
There is a one-frame trick, sorry.
Well, my hopes have been dashed. But I guess in general, you would say this is a game that's very easy to pick up. In fact, if people wanted to, they could jump into the race right now and play through the game blind, probably in an hour or so, I'd say.
Probably more like 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a game you can easily get into, but the optimization is really what we're going to be talking about today. Just the little things that these runners have had time to practice and learn that's going to make a huge difference between first and last place in this race.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of good stuff.
Now, being an N64 era platformer, something I've noticed over the week, I'm not sure if you have too much experience with this, but the camera. I've heard a lot of the potential runners for this race talk about this game's camera and talk about how much they really don't like this game's camera.
There's a reason there's several people who've made emotes called Camera Please.
All right, that says a lot.
I mean, for those who haven't necessarily had the opportunity to play the game, or like myself, who have really only watched runners from some videos for some of the top runners like Alaris play the game, could you describe what makes this game's camera just so wonderful?
Well, there's one particular room at the end, the last room actually in Cakeland before the boss, where you want to turn the camera to a certain angle and make a jump. However, it doesn't matter, that room. You click the C button left like 3 times. It's normal. Sometimes it takes 7 clicks. Sometimes it takes 1 click. It's your guess each time you go into that room, whether it's going to be, easy or, all right, eventually the camera will be nice.
That just sounds like N64 era camera to me. I love it.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, they got to be used to it, right? If they grew up with 64, it's really not that big of a deal at this point.
Yeah.
So I mean, getting more into the specifics of the game, the category we're going to be playing today is all stages. And I believe you can play this category on either US or Japanese version of the game, but the US version is faster in this category. Is that correct?
Yes. I don't remember exactly. I think it's the Desertland bosses. I think it's the Desertland bosses worse than the JP version.
All right. I do know the JP version is faster in any percent. We were talking about that a little earlier. But what separates all stages from any percent? Is there some kind of major glitch we're going to be seeing here, or is it pretty obvious why and how we're playing all stages?
Oh, it's pretty obvious. So it's always the first stage is always going to be Jungle Land. The second stage you can do Bomb Land or Ant Land, and after you beat one of those 2 levels, you can do any of the third stage levels, which is Cake Land or Desert Land. And after you beat one of those 2, you could technically do the 4th level, but we're going to do all 4 in the middle before we do the last level.
Right. And so the difference between all stages at any percent is that in any percent, you would only play through Jungle Land, Bomb Land, Cake Land, and then the final world, as opposed to doing all of them.
Yep.
So getting back to some of those minor optimizations we were talking about earlier, what are some of the things we can expect in terms of that? Like, is this a game where bunny hopping is faster? I've noticed watching a few runners, they like to little, bunny hop around the stages. Is that actually a speed improvement, or are people just doing that for fun?
It depends where you're doing it. So if anyone's seen the task, at the very beginning of Jungle Land, there's these weird kind of blocks that are sticking up. If you hit the corner of it, you get a weird boost. So it's important to note edges in this game are very not great. You tend to slide off the edge of stuff if you're running next to it. It makes for dying a lot. But there's edges that you get boosts off of, and if you jump, the frame you hit the ground, you actually maintain some of that speed that you have. So especially in Jungle Land, because it's really the only level you get most of that stuff. If you get any of these boosts where you slide off a wall or get a boost from the edge, you want to jump immediately to hit the ground, maintain just a little bit of that speed.
Gotcha, for sure. And, talking again about some minor optimizations the game has, you can grapple onto stationary posts with your tongue. It's one of the main mechanics of the game. Your tongue does have a range limit, but that range is fairly long. And, I mean, as long as your tongue connects with something, you could swing in as wide of a radius as you want. And there are a lot of stages where we'll be seeing people, just basically grab a post from as far as possible just to kind of cut down on that time, take the shorter path by going the longer route, essentially.
Absolutely. You're going to use, especially in Jungle Land, actually, there's 2 rooms where you could just kind of run through the room normally, or you can do a tongue extension to one of those poles and just make the room about a second or 2 faster.
For sure, for sure. Now, I know you're definitely more of an any percent guy than an all stages guy, but before we get to some of the larger optimizations in the run, are there any more, little things you want to point out before we watch the races? The races are, of course, still getting set up. That race is scheduled to start at 2 p.m. But yeah, any little things you want to point out we should be on the look for?
Well, I already mentioned that edges are not great. So another thing I mentioned where you kind of slide off the edge, if someone jumps and lands exactly on an edge, they'll be stuck there until they let go of the thumbstick and then they get pushed off. So that might happen to someone. It's uncommon, but you might see it. So when you grab a bunch of enemies, you can press Z to shoot one or B to shoot many. That'll be used against the first boss if you don't grab enough. So the first boss is Danky King, so named. You'll understand when you see him. But he butterflies that kind of come out. And there's groups of 5. If you grab 5 and shoot him with all 5, and then grab the second group of 5 and shoot him with all 5, he dies. However, if you miss one, you have to switch to single shots because the single shots actually make him slide back further than the spam shot. So it's a lot of smaller stuff like that.
Sure. Actually, speaking of single shots and spam shots, I think now's a great time to pull up one of the first gameplay videos we have of the boss of the bomb world. Now,
Yes.
Can you explain what's good? Because I've seen this boss a few times. It looks like a crazy molderm. Can you explain what's going on here?
All right, so those little bombs in the back that have the red lines are his HP. And there's a fast cycle for this where it's a 1, 3, and a 3. So we grab the 1, wait till the 3 drop, go to a specific spot, shoot those 3, and then run back and grab the 3 right before the third one explodes, and then shoot them right like that. So, and something to note now, there are differences in the JP version. If someone's playing the JP version of this boss, he's going to drop a lot more bombs. And I think you can 1-cycle him, but it's been a while since I've seen that. So I think it's either a 1-cycle or a 2-cycle in JP, but it's a lot faster.
And I mean, how hard is it to time? How precise, I guess, is this strategy? Is this something you think some of the runners we'll be seeing for today are going to go for? Do you lose anything by messing this strategy up compared to fighting him in maybe a more conventional way?
You waste a lot of time if you hit him conventionally. Because if you mess this up or you don't do it quickly, something he'll do is he'll go to a spot and then he'll spin and then dash at you, and it's really hard to hit him during that. So even if they get through like all but one hit, it's still going to be better to try to go for this once.
Gotcha. So moving on to our second set of clips here, we actually have another boss we want to highlight. This is pretty crazy.
Okay. Can you restart the clip? Sorry. This is important. I need to explain this before. So you see what happened. I paused as soon as you enter the room. This is the frame perfect trick that exists. It's a weird set of situations. So all bosses have this animation when you go into the fight. And if you pause, save, and leave, and in this case, you can do that save as soon as you enter the room. You enter the training. If you go into the training and leave the training, there's this weird side effect where you're set to move during cutscenes. And then we go back to that boss, and if you notice, the animation for this boss is it opens up, and then the 4 enemies that you're supposed to grab to kill this boss jump in. So the normal strat is you grab 3, and this is a video from me, and unfortunately I messed up the first guy that you would normally grab. So I did 2, and after that, it spins around a bunch, shoots some strawberries at you because this is Cake Land, and then it opens up and you can grab 1. So that's the normal strat. You get 3 of them, he spins once, you grab it, he dies. Actually, about a week ago, the guy who has the 80% record, Custom, found a 1-cycle that is not TAS only. And it cuts the line really, really close to not being able to do it because you can still actually grab the enemy just as it closes if you don't mind switching to that video.
Yeah, I think we're pulling that up right here.
All right, so he grabs that one, that, and he barely gets the last one. I don't think anyone's going to do that. I don't think even Alaris is going to be doing that because if you mess it up, you still get 3, which isn't the worst thing in the world. but it is incredibly tight to do.
Yeah, when you gave us that video to look for the show today, I was sure there was some kind of bug there. Like, there's no way he grabs the fourth one before that kick closes.
Yeah,
the timing looks incredibly precise.
Oh yeah, his hitbox is just outside enough during that closing part that you can get him.
Now, I have heard that it is basically always worth it to go for this, assuming you can get the pauses as soon as you go in, which Alaris himself kind of mentioned in the channel. You just kind of mash pause and hope you hit the right frame.
Yeah, for the one frame trick, yeah. So the one frame trick saves like 10 seconds. Otherwise, you go, oh no, I missed it. Wait for the boss animation to go through once, then you save and do it anyway. And that's what we always used to do as it was.
So you can still do it after the boss's animation finishes, and it saves time if you get 3. Does it still save time if you only get 2 doing that?
Yes, it still saves time to get only 2.
All right, so this is another trick that we can expect pretty much all of our runners to probably go for, even if they're only doing the simpler version of it, you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's totally worth it. Even if you get 2, you still save like 20 seconds. The animation, between times you can grab a guy, that spin is so incredibly long.
Right, I've seen this fight normally. It does like this whole cycle where it spins at you and fires missiles, and when it opens up, you can only get one of them. So this definitely seems like something hopefully everyone's taking the time to learn.
Yeah.
We did have one more really kind of cool trick, and I believe we have a clip for it. In the last stage of the game,
yes.
Yeah, this completely unintentional skip up to a higher level where instead of grabbing one of those poles to spin yourself around, you jump on top of it and then use the kind of tongue pogo to reach a higher platform. I mean, is that as simple as it looks, or what are the good answer.
Okay, so it used to be really hard, and this was essentially another one frame trick until a guy named Bokuno found this angle for the setup. So the way you're jumping in now for this, it's actually much more consistent than it used to be for just doing that tongue vault. But landing on top of those poles and doing a tongue vault, you're actually not able to do that. So you have to do it as soon as you land on it. And this angle makes it a bit more consistent. So the original strat is just jumping through this room, kind of ignoring the stuff and, slow. The strat before this was you would actually grab that first one, spin around, run up, grab the second one, spin, run to a spot, grab the second one again, and spin to the door. And you see this last one, that's the last part of the old spin strat that we used to do. But this saves a lot of time, and I expect Alaris will probably try it. I don't expect anyone to try it more than once or twice, if at all.
I hope they do. It's just so cool looking.
Oh, yeah. And so, actually, the fun part about this is another reason that, or part of side effect of the edges of stuff being slippery, is you can actually clip up through that. If the edges weren't as bizarre and kind of, I guess, not well there, there's no way to describe it, they're just bad. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be able to do that.
Sure thing. Yeah, no, I agree with Boney. This is a trick that I love in this level because it makes me regret not knowing this game as well as some of our runners today do. I saw someone in chat mention, oh, Chameleon Twist, that's the game I rented for Blockbuster once and then never touched it again. And I had the same experience as a kid. I played this once probably as a child and never touched it. And I really regret it watching, some of these speedrun tricks because, like, wow, there's actually a lot here.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to pick it up, it's to learn the any percent run, you can probably learn it in an hour. And learn the all spirits, hour 30. Or not all spirits, that's quest, sorry. All levels.
All spirits in Chameleon Twist, all 0 of them. Great category. I saw Quill actually had a really detailed looking series of video tutorials teaching the game. So hopefully some of our runners have utilized that. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a really fun game. Hopefully people pick it up after today's race.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing more people running it.
So I mean, sorry, go ahead, Bonnie.
I was just going to say, it seems very accessible, so I can definitely see more people picking this up. And that's kind of why we chose it, at least for this point in the season, just because the last couple of weeks have been really brutal for the runners. They've just been such hard games, so it's nice to give them a bit of a mental break with Chameleon Twist. Of course, that means that it's going to be even harder to optimize. You have less room for errors because everyone's going to be so experienced at the game. So
it does remind me of one more thing. Dying is not that bad. So if you run out of HP in a room, it just says, do you want to continue? And that's it. So you waste a bit of time, but you just start at the beginning of the same room. So,
Right.
And I believe falling in a hole only just resets you to the beginning of the room.
Yep.
It takes away a block of health. You can see the health actually in the video up there. It's just those 3 little pips. You can have 8, I think, is full health.
8 or so, yeah.
So you have plenty of room for error, plenty of room for damage boosts. As I think we'll see people taking a few in Cake Land.
Oh, absolutely.
to get by some of the marching enemies you see there. So I mean, we've taken some time. We focused on a few of the bosses, and of course that one trick. We haven't really touched too much on Antland or Pyramid World, as I think they're called. I've seen everyone give them different names, despite the fact that they do have names in game.
Yeah, I think it's Desert Land actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the common opinion is among runners, but my my inexperienced opinion is that Desert is really, really cool and it adds a lot to this run, but Ant is not good, so it kind of detracts from the run.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, Boney, as an SRL administrator, as someone behind the scenes setting up seasons, what made you choose all stages versus just any percent?
I mean, any percent's just too short. That's like the main issue. It's like a 12-minute run if you're really good, and obviously it'll be a little slower for new players, but all levels is just kind of at that sweet spot, and people know it a bit less as well. We kind of like using some categories that just aren't played as much as the really popular ones, so it kind of works out in that regard as well. As I said, Antland is not good, so that was kind of the worst part about selecting this category, but I do like the variety in levels. Yeah, sure. And boss, primarily. You're right.
I mean, it is definitely the longest boss fight in the game, and I'm sure you will have a lot to say when we get there, but how could you hate on that boss? It is a ballerina ant queen.
Oh,
That's
she's
the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Cool for sure. Not fun to fight.
Yeah, that seems fair.
It's all too common in the speedrunning world, isn't it? Just the coolest enemies are the ones you really don't want to run into.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get that race set up. Bing, do you have any other major points you want to bring up? Things we want to be aware about? Just commentary you want to throw out on that game before we take a quick break to get the runners ready to go?
Yeah, I forgot about one thing. Cycles. Cycles are everywhere. So Jungle Land doesn't really have them. Bombland has some very minor cycles, but they're next to not noticeable and not important. Cake Land has a very big cycle. I doubt anyone will get it because it's very, very difficult. The whole of Cake Land is on a cycle. So once you start that level, everything is through all the rooms, is all going through whatever. There's one room that you get to. If you get the cycle or you get through to up to that point fast enough, you can spin to a platform and grab the platform or grab another thing and spin to the end. If you miss that cycle, you just miss being able to grab that. You have to wait for this platform to move back and into range for you to grab that. So that's a big cycle. And then Antland has a lot of individual room cycles. And Desert Land has another cycle, but that one you kind of skip or you get to in like the first 30 or 40 seconds. And cycles is the name of the game, though, with a lot of those rooms.
Gotcha. So yeah, we'll have to keep a special eye out during the race to see if Alaris or any of our other runners are able to make some of those larger cycles. But before that happens, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to make sure everything's set up and ready to go. And we'll be starting Chameleon Twist Speedruns Live Season 2, Week 4 in just a few minutes here. All right, everyone. Oh, sorry, Bonnie, but
It's all you.
back.
It's all you. I got a timer to start, right?
That you do. So we are back, guys, and we are ready to start the Chameleon Twist race of Season 2, Week 4. We're getting into it. We should definitely take a minute, though, and introduce our racers here, because we have 4 really great runners. On the top left, we have our good friend from Mystery Tournament himself, Ramses88, who is dominating this competition. He is in first place with an astounding 250 points, and he is looking to increase his season's lead. On top right, we have Alaris Villain, who is one of the main runners of this game. I believe he has the world record for this category, all levels, as well as second place for any percent. And I think he has the world record for 100% too, but I might be wrong on that, Bing.
I don't remember that one. I think
he's
Quill
good. He's good.
Either Alaris has it or Quill still has it, but
definitely one of the top runners for sure. Moving down in the bottom left corner of our screen, we have Bro Edgeman. Bro Edgeman is in third overall in the season's leaderboard with 192 points. Had some really solid above average finishes, and has just been in every race. And that's all it takes, guys. Even if you don't score the best every single time, as long as you get out there and constantly, get those runs in, get those points, you could be at the top. Bro Edgeman's in the top with the 60, 62, and 70 from the past 3 games. So definitely someone to look out for. And finally, on the bottom right, we have Kushas, who is in 8th place overall on the season's leaderboard with 126 points. Again, just, solid above average times in all the races so far. And that's all it takes.
All right, so please feel free to explain any mechanics that you see. I know this game is quite straightforward, at least early on, so...
I'll be looking at Alaris's mostly because he's going to be doing a lot of the harder stuff.
Sounds good.
So a lot of them is running to a certain spot and tonguing. And so this next room, he's going to jump, and at the height of his jump, he's going to use his tongue. If you don't do it there, you miss, and you can spin around. It's a quarter second faster, I think. And nothing special here, just a quick room before Donkey Kong. As you know, he's the coolest brother of the Donkey Kong bros.
That is certainly not a description I've ever heard used for him before.
But yeah, you just have to hit him with some butterflies. It takes 10 if you're doing, if you get all of them and just spam it with B. Otherwise, you have to hit one with Z because he moves a little bit further. So that was the quick kill that Alaris got.
I always thought of him as Johnny Bravo, but I guess that's just me.
Looks like Ramses also got the 2 butterfly cycle. Bro Edgeman needed to fire a single one off there, and Kusha's got the 2 cycle, looks like, as well.
Yep. Pretty straightforward, boss. And so now we're into Antland for Alaris. Oh, and Kusha's going to Bombland. Bombland has some interesting things. A lot of angles that you can take the rooms a bit tight, like jumping this corner here and skipping most of the first room. But Antland up in Alaris' screen is just a lot of cycles. The RNG in terms of the way those guys move in the room is the same every single time when it starts, but if you don't do it fast enough, it's a little different. So you get a preview of the boss for this level by tripping these yellow guys and then shooting them. That's how the boss is going to go.
Now, it's also worth mentioning that while you're kind of swinging from the posts, you can grab enemies that are between you and the post, correct?
Yep. As long as your tongue hits them and not you. All right, and so this spin room is going to be the same every single time. You want to just grab everything that comes out and then shoot them, and then grab everything that comes out and shoot them until they're all dead. It's a set amount. There's 2 of these rooms. One's really long. The second one's a lot longer, but it's the same every time. And he's just gonna... These guys, once they get too close to them, they kind of target onto you. So just want to make sure you jump so they don't hit you. And he likes to change his camera in this room to set up for, I think, either the next room or the room after. Yeah, this room. So these guys are walking along. You can actually walk along the edge and not touch them. Their hitbox is kind of small. And so he uses his camera to set up a nice angle for himself. He's going to try to do the same thing here. And it looks like he's going to get it. Nice. He did it on the hard side, too.
The enemy dodging in this level is actually pretty cool. It kind of makes up for the weak points of the level.
Oh yeah, the rest of the level is really good. The boss is just not the best.
Yeah.
he got a little unlucky with some of those ant spawns. He grabs another one for the next room, where he's gonna shoot these cicada grasshopper-looking guys. But you need to kill all of them before you can move on, and they always move the same set pattern, so kind of knows where they are as long as he has ants in his mouth to shoot. And this is the second room. It spins around, and then a bunch of ants comes out. And it's always the same every single time, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I hope so. That would be easier to deal with, at least.
I mean, in terms of the ants coming out, it's always the same. I'm pretty sure they go out the same spot every single time.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, is there a limit to how many enemies you can have on your tongue vaults?
I actually don't know. I think the limit is essentially how many enemies are near close enough to you. There is something to note, though. If you have 2 enemies in your mouth, you still move at full speed, but any more than 2, you move slower and slower to a certain point. So generally, you don't want to grab more than 2 if you can. Right, and let's see. Kushis is on the Bombland boss. I didn't see if he tried to go for the 1-3-3 or not.
It looked like he set up the 1-3-3 and he got the 1, but the 3 bombs spawned in places he wasn't expecting, and he didn't get his tongue around them.
Okay.
You're covered pretty well.
Yeah, he may have. So if you grab the one a bit too early, she spawns them in a really awkward spot. But
All right, it's the ant boss.
yeah, so I don't know, take a nap or something.
Yeah.
So each time she gets hit, she spins longer. That's really it. And you want to try not to grab all the ants, so that when you spin around, you actually already have an ant ready to shoot her. It's a little faster than her slamming down, spawning some ants, and then you have to, knock her over. But yeah, no, each time it's just more spins. It's slow. There's no way around it.
What's the second longest boss in this category? It's probably like 20 seconds if you play it well, right? Maybe even less.
The second longest is probably the final boss, really, and that's only because he has 2 phases.
Right. Yeah, this one's just a huge anomaly.
I mean, technically the Cake Land boss would be probably as long as this, except that we have a glitch that gets around it.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Or Kids Land, sorry.
Same thing.
Hey, kids,
You know what you're
cake.
talking about.
Yeah. Quill's
So-
gonna hurt me later.
We do actually have a note from Quill in chat. He says that these spinning rooms are random
Oh, they are random? I thought they were.
Oh.
in duration. They always spit out the same amount.
Oh, okay. I guess I was wrong. Sorry, Quill.
I don't think there's too much randomness in this game, though. I guess aside from that, which is good.
Mostly
Few
enemy.
rooms, but yeah, nothing terrible.
It's mostly enemy movement type stuff. All right, so Quill, or not Quill, Alaris finishing Antland. Great, and he accidentally went back into Antland.
Oh,
It doesn't waste that much time. It's more
yeah.
annoying. So there is a cycle here that we're gonna get, but he's gonna just kind of run through and spin around a lot and do a couple tongue vaults to skip some platforms here and there. And I'll mention the cycle when we get to it. It's actually kind of forgiving, but he may be cutting it close since he made that one mistake there. But a lot of tongue vaulting instead of going the somewhat intended route. Here is a sweet little glitch. You can actually tongue vault into the bottom of these spikes and damage boost up. It's definitely unintended, but it's pretty cool. Alright, so he's actually coming up on the little bit of a cycle here. So these platforms that move kind of slowly and you get arrows shot at you, it's, just kind of there. But it's this cycle right here, that platform, and he just made it. Ooh. Yeah, so if you miss that, it's like 10 seconds waiting for it to come back for you. And that's the big cycle for this.
Jeez.
Yeah. And fun fact, you can run on the background. He did just
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So a lot of tongue vaulting in this spot to skip platforms that are that move up and down. Unfortunately, he bonked a little bit there. That was a case of edges send you flying.
Oh, struggling with this one.
Yeah, that's a very tight one, unfortunately.
This level's cool. I think this is like my favorite one in the run.
Yeah,
This is
it's a
the
very cool
speed
level. So in the sand, when you start running, you move very slowly, but you eventually get up to top speed. If he were to jump at any point, he would go back to immediately that slow speed until he's run for a set amount of time on the sand.
sorry, I was just gonna follow up from something earlier. Those bounces to the higher planes with the tongue bolt thing, that's all position based, right? That's not mid-air movement.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
We see Ramses going for it right now, and he actually looks like he got through it. Had a bit of an easier time with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Ramses actually isn't far behind. It's pretty surprising.
No, he's not.
I think he's within like 40 seconds.
And I mean, Bro Edgeman just made the vaults himself, so it's
Nice.
pretty close between those three. And unfortunately, Kushas is doing a little bit of a different route, so it's kind of hard to compare.
Yeah. We'll see when both of these guys finish their levels. It'll be kind of close. So there actually is a fast cycle for this boss, which I actually forgot to mention until just now. When he comes, this boss is a armadillo-looking like thing, sort of. He burrows in the sand, and then he spins, or he jumps up, and a bunch of little guys spawn, and you can grab them and shoot them. But as soon as you run in, he jumps up once, and if you just tongue immediately, you can grab all of the ones that pop up there, and that gives you just enough to kill the boss. And you don't have to wait for him to keep respawning, or like jumping out and spawning more little guys.
So I've got the animal fact of the day for you. It's a pangolin.
Okay.
Oh, pangolins are cool. It's one of my favorite animals.
Not quite as cool as ballerina dancing ants, but I mean, yeah.
Maybe.
Still pretty cool. Oh, something to note, with spins, if your tongue hits a crown, your spin immediately stops and you fall. So if you're hanging over an edge and your tongue were to touch a crown, you would drop to your death. So there's a couple rooms, it was particularly in the first, it's in Jungle Land. It's you skip going all along the platforms, you can spin around and then grab 3 guys from the back. That crown is that hitbox is weird and a bit finicky with your tongue, so sometimes you can hit that, and that's unfortunate. And then there's the last room in Cake Land. If you try to be greedy with one certain spin, you can sometimes get your tongue canceled by the crown. Alright, so here comes the boss, and he's probably going to try the quick kill, or he's just going to immediately put his tongue out. Let's see. Berries, and then jumps, and then bounces. Yep, he got them all. So, yeah. And now he doesn't have to wait for him to keep spawning. He can just hit him as soon as he pops up. And this is... Oh, he missed one, so he's going to have to wait. He missed 2. So he's not doing the quick kill, unfortunately. He messed up a little bit there. So now he's going to have to wait for him to pop up and bounce and then grab some.
That's a cool setup, though. It definitely makes about half of it much, much easier.
Yeah. He's really struggling a little bit there.
I'm just starting the boss. Yeah.
Starting the boss, so we'll see if he gets it.
Gaining ground.
Oop, he got it. Alright. Alright, so we got the first hit for Ramses. Okay, so Ramses looks like he's got it under wraps.
That looks like it saves a huge amount of time too, not having to wait for him to bounce around.
Oh yes, yes it does. He missed one. Alright, so here's Bomb Land. There's a lot of jumps. I said earlier you can skip, and you're gonna see more of the, I guess, optimal route here. And you're gonna grab one guy here, shoot it as soon as you go in, explode that block, grab one guy here, or 2. So you don't actually have to shoot the first one, you can shoot the second one and make this jump, just barely. Saves maybe a quarter of a second, but, you know, fast strats, all that fun stuff. So normally, and he does that strat a little differently, he brings a guy in there and blows those bombs up. You actually don't have to do that. You can just spin in there, take a damage boost, and while you're in your invincibility frames, do a ton vault up. And this is the first of the awful RNG rooms. These cannonballs, their hitbox is like 1.5 times bigger than it looks. Probably not quite that big, but they're gigantic. And if it's anywhere near you, you're going to get hit by it, and it's pretty unfortunate. That room isn't that bad because there's only 2, but there's another room they're going to have a little bit that has 4 of them, and that room hurts a lot. So coming up after this spin and tongue vault, we're going to have the bomb jump. We'll probably see it in someone else's who's didn't do the bomb jump, but there's BOM written in the background up above there, and he fell. And this is the case of the camera being bad. You actually, as the camera turns, you have to change the angle of how you're holding the thumbstick. So in this room, this is the first RNG room. If you're close enough to those blocks, they actually take 2 hits. They take 1 hit to blow up the block and then 1 hit to blow it up on the ground. If you're close enough with 2 things in your mouth, you can actually double hit them and just immediately reveal what's under the ground. Which is kind of nice. He had actually okay luck, even though he messed up the first one. He got it second try. That's not bad. Alright, so I presume he's going to try the 1-3-3 here. So we just saw bomb on Ramses. It only saves like, I think it saves like 2 or 3 seconds maybe.
This room Ramses is in is random as well, right?
It's random where they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the 1.
Alright. Looks like he's might get it. Yeah, he got it. Cool. His setup's a little different than mine, but same idea. 1-3-3.
Yeah, very, very well done. Well, let's see if Ramses goes for it, as Bro Edgeman just went through the bomb room.
Yes.
And the time save there is just entirely in lag reduction from not having the bomb on screen. Or in the bomb room
Oh no, it's just making that jump instead of running around the side.
Ah, okay. Because it did look like it actually slowed his game down a bit.
Oh, it might have. It's been so long since I've done that room correctly, I don't remember if it lags or not. Alright, so the room that Alaris is in, you can make this jump without taking damage from this guy, but it's really, really hard and essentially TAS only. He's already messed up enough that he's not going to get the 1 cycle, the big cycle in this area, or this level. Like, that's enough for you to miss it.
Jeez. Yeah, I've heard that that's very precise and hard to do, so it's not surprising.
Oh, so something he just did there, he just stuck his tongue out a couple times while he's in this room. There's a weird side effect glitch where part of your tongue is invisible and it has no hitbox. And that can kill you because you can't like grab stuff. It's bad. It can happen. So this is the first of the RNG rooms. Where those platforms want you to go to is random. And the next room is the cycle, the big cycle for this area. So he only messed up the 1, so he's getting the normal cycle pretty much. So if you notice, he has to wait for this to go back. If you got this perfectly, it would already be there. You could spin, you could grab this 1, and you'd be through the room real quick. And then this room, this is another of those wafers that do damage. You can actually make the jump around them without hitting them. If you do hit them, it's like a 1.5 second time loss. Nice.
Oh, I got both of them.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight jump. It's worth it if you're not, safe enough. It's worth it to take the damage and make it around. Even though it's a 1.5 seconds, it's a lot faster than going and hitting them back and then just going through normally. Alright, so this is another random room where he, hopefully he's going to end up, actually he got pretty good RNG. Because he's going to end up, oh no, that's wrong, I had it backwards. He's going to end up far away from the door. So he had, RNG.
I see.
And this is, again, all these rooms are the same if you're the same through the entire level. So he can expect to see the same thing as long as he doesn't make too many mistakes or whatever. So there's a fast cycle for this. He's going to grab 3, shoot 1 left, or 1 right, 2 left, and grab another one and shoot this guy. So if you don't quite get those first 3, you have to wait for the last one to jump way up top left and then hit him there. And something to mention, you maintain momentum, so it allows you to make that jump that he just fell. You can barely make that jump because of the momentum of the ice cream sandwich, I think, that you're standing on. You can just jump instead of fall. Unfortunately, he's messed up twice there. Otherwise, you have to go around to the left and then to the right. And he makes it this time. So this is the camera room. That's the one where you hope the camera plays nice. And there's another cycle here. He got a pretty... Ooh, he's let go of his tongue a little too early there. Notice the camera is awful. This is the prime example of bad camera. Yeah, so this is that ground there. If you take this a little greedy, you can get knocked down there. And so he's going to come up on... He's probably going to try the pause glitch, so let's see if he gets it. He didn't get it, so he's just going to do it the normal way. You have to wait for this animation to play through, and then press start, save, quit, go to training, enter training, and immediately leave it so that you can move during the cutscene. And it is much, much, much faster than just letting this boss play out normally.
And as a reminder, it's a 1-frame window to get the pause right when you enter the room?
Yes, 1 frame. Let's see if Ramses Steven tries for it, and he didn't get it. So, see, doing the normal 3 grab here. And we already know where the last one's going to spawn, so or is going to end up when he opens, so he's just going to run to pretty much where he needs to be. Oh, he didn't. He's a little off. But that's okay.
What a weird glitch exploit thing. I don't even know what to call it.
Fun fact, if you let the intro cutscene from like the demo kind of play, and you like stop the demo after there's a spot where the chameleon has something in his mouth, when you first enter the underground area in Jungle Land, you'll have something in your mouth.
Does that
it
help?
stores it.
It's not useful in the slightest, it's just a weird side effect.
Yeah.
Alright, so he's on to the last level here. There's a couple cycles here and there, but mostly straightforward. So these barrels are the bane of my existence. If you go a little too far off the edge, you get pushed and slide off. Another example of the edges being not great. Alright, and then classic spinning room for N64 games. Just kind of jump through it. Nothing special here. Alright, so this next room, he's going to walk a certain path to try to get as many of these spawn close to him as he can. And he's going to take all of these into the next room. And first of 2 RNG rooms, there's 2 mirrors in this one. And so one of the mirrors you need to break to move on. So hopefully he gets lucky and gets the first try. Looks like he got first try. That one's not bad. But the real reason you have all those fireballs is for this room. So you need to ignite all these candles, or light all these candles rather, and just go across these platforms. If you're lucky, some of these platforms can spawn close enough and you can skip a candle, but that's only this candle room. There's another candle room, but it's not as nice as this one. Unfortunately, he hit the last one. You can actually skip the last candle in this room every single time and make the jump, but he unfortunately hit the last one. Wasted a little bit of time there. So this room always looks the same, so same walking path every single time. And then the second candle room. So you're probably wondering, why didn't he grab any of those fireballs from that spinning room? Well, for whatever reason, those fireballs in that previous room won't light these candles. So,
You know, I was actually going to ask you that as soon as we got in here, because I saw a run and, you know, you see them grabbing fireballs in this room and lighting the candles through the platforming. And I was curious, like, is it just because it slows you down too much? Or, oh, okay, they just don't work.
yeah, and it's only that room, if I recall correctly. So for whatever reason, those candle or those fireballs are just different enough that they don't work. All right, so next room is the 4-mirror room, and hopefully we'll see what kind of luck he gets here. And spinning, tornado-y kind of thing, try to grab. It looks like he's getting it 3rd try. All right, so there's a couple different strats. He'll probably shoot the first guy here, like that. And you can actually dodge these fireballs coming from this one if you do a full jump right there and hold up. And he did it right. You just don't take damage. If you move any other way, you'll take damage. So here's the Volcano angle with a custom vault, and he missed it. So that was a case of he unfortunately got not quite the right angle and got pushed out. He didn't quite clip through the floor fully. And so this is what the...
Surprise us all and do it.
Right. So this is what the room would normally look like. But yeah. Those rooms, or that room is notorious for those, like, I guess they're chocolate bars or something. Notorious for sliding off the edge if you get too close. Okay, so the final boss, he has 2 phases. The first phase, he has 2 arms with 4 glowing balls on them. And you want to, I guess, hit him with a tongue each time. There is a very fast cycle. So if you get all 4 on the first one, and you get all 4 fast enough on the second one, he'll immediately go into his second phase. If you're not fast enough and the first arm comes out a little bit before you get everything on the second arm, you'll have to wait for that arm to go out and then retract. And the final boss portion, he has 2 things. He can go straight and then rounded. So the fastest would be straight and then rounded. And oh, he got the good recovery for that. So it's really hard to hit him when he does the straight shot, like really hard. It's much easier to do the rounded shot because it's rounded. You can just kind of stand in a spot and hit it. There are different strats for hitting during the straight shot, but generally we just hope that he doesn't do that. And fun fact, we're gonna meet the bunny from Alice in Wonderland. Is actually who that bunny is that's talking to us throughout the whole game. So we're kind of in the Alice in Wonderland universe.
See how quickly Ramses can ramp this up too. He might finish within a minute.
Yeah, so he got a
Just
straight shot
really
first.
good.
Let's see if he gets a rounded shot. He got a straight shot again. That's going to be a bit tough. Let's see if he goes. No, he didn't do. Rounded shot, so that's easy. Done right there.
Nice.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, we have our first two finishers here. Alaris Villain with 24 flat and Ramses 88 with 24.53. Both amazing times. Forgot to mention it before we got the race set up, but the winner of our Saturday night race was Zhao with, I believe, a 28.20. So both of those times are well ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed that Ramses was within a minute, considering he learned this game this week, and Alaris has been running it for a few years, probably.
No, I think Alaris has
No?
only been
Okay.
running it for about a year.
Oh, okay. He did grind it a lot more than a week, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, he did a lot of grinding for like 2 months or something.
Gotcha.
This game is very, very, very easy to pick up. Some of the harder strats, like the custom vault and stuff, not so much. Like even the Cake Land boss, that glitch stuff, you could spend an afternoon on that and have it down. Okay, looks like Kusis is on the first phase of the final boss. Looks like he's getting to the second phase there. Let's see if he gets lucky with a straight shot and then rounded shot. Even 2 rounded shots is fine. Rounded shot's a bit slower, so we'll have the straight shot first. I got 2 straight shots. I got the rounded shot for third. There we go. Nice. 26-24. Pretty good.
Yep, we also had, it was off screen, but ST Joe finished in 26-12 just before Kush's.
Nice. Okay, so it looks like Bros. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just going to say Joe's doing well in the season, too, so I'm not surprised to see really all of these guys finish as well as they are.
Yeah. And Bro did the final room kind of the normal way without doing any spins or anything.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can do the quick cycle. He's going to have to do. So if you don't hit all of the balls before he does this twice, and we're going to see it now, he goes out and he sticks one arm out and spins around and then goes back and does the same thing. So he's going to spin around and then back up and do the same thing again. And it'll repeat until you hit all of the colored balls.
I like the rabbit.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland.
And I don't think we've seen anyone sit on the credits all the way to the end, other than Alaris. But you do turn back into a regular Chameleon at the end. You just you have a backpack.
Yes. It's pretty great. It's actually one of the better endings from an N64 game for sure. Kirk joined the race.
And yeah, Bro Edgeman finishes with a time of 27:54, so congrats to him.
Nice.
As a reminder, we have 23 people in the race today, as well as 4 people who did our early bird race last night. So 27 racers total. They'll be ranked from first to last and given points accordingly.
Right.
But all 5 people we've seen finish today are the top 5, because the time to beat from yesterday was a 28:20.
Nice. So you notice on Kirk's screen, he was actually using his tongue to put down those spikes. That's the developer intended way to play through that area. And he missed the... Thankfully, respawns are pretty nice in the open areas. He just has to wait a little bit for that to come back.
Unfortunately, because of routing choices, it's a little hard to tell where everyone in the middle of the pack currently is, but we're going to try and put up some streams of people who are still in the race and see how they finish.
All right. Oh, and I'm sure someone asked it in chat, and I probably missed it. There is no difference between the 4 chameleons. It is all visual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, which chameleon is your favorite?
I usually use Linda.
Okay. That's the pink one?
Yep.
All right. Good choice.
I can respect that.
And actually, it's... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I say it's gotten to the point I've used her so much when I play this game. If I play as any of the other characters, it actually throws me out of whack.
Well, there you go. In fact, Ramses88, our second place finisher in chat, letting us know that Linda is OP. So, I mean,
There you go.
speaking of classic finishers, Pika Pals, who I believe is in the top 8 as well this season, finishes in 6th place with 28.02. So still coming in under that Saturday night bar. And I do believe Libre is just about to finish here. It looks like he got another straight shot, so he isn't going to be able to finish off the boss on that one.
You can, it's just a bit finicky. You kind of have to land on him. It's a bit weird. Oh, and he should have jumped over. So he kind of unfortunately ruined that himself. If he had jumped over the round shot before started shooting, he would have been fine. But shooting through it is not the best idea, because you do have to hit him a set amount of times.
Now, death to a boss would set you back to the start of the boss.
That is correct.
Well,
Yep.
Not going to happen here because Libre does manage to finish with a time of 30-50.
Nice.
Everyone's kind of close, at least relatively speaking, compared to the other games. This game's just very simple to pick up.
Yes.
Like, most people are already in one of the last couple stages, unless they're going in blind, of course.
Yeah, I say outside of Cakeland boss, that glitch, everything else doesn't save more than like 12, or outside of Cakeland and Custom Vault, nothing saves more than like 4 seconds, maybe. But Custom Vault saves, most of that room, so it's like 12-ish seconds, and then the Cakeland boss is significant.
Right, like we were saying earlier, it's just it's really just all down to optimized movement. Those little things like the cycles you were mentioning.
Right, and definitely like anytime you have to spin, if you want to spin immediately, it's like you want to spin as soon as your tongue catches on to the poles, and that will save time overall on the run. No hesitation, all that fun stuff.
About half of our racers have finished up, I think. Looking for more to show right now.
Yep. Naruto Kyubi finished with a 29.43, Agric with a 30.32, Mashi STR with a 30.36, Libre with a 30.47, Final Flame with a 31.47.
I have a feeling Kirkyu is doing this completely blind.
He said he didn't know it was all levels, so I think he's blind to Desert and Ant. That's my guess.
That would make a sense. Someone practicing any percent and having a little bit of a rough realization.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your favorite level in this game being?
Probably Jungle Land, to be completely honest. It doesn't have really any RNG. It's very consistent. That's the only level I've did a lot of grinding for IL stuff. There's a lot of small, sliding time save stuff. Very, very much at the beginning, which unfortunately we didn't get to talk about real quick, but there's a lot of edges very early on that you can get boosts off of, and then you can maintain the boost by jumping as soon as you hit the ground.
Now, to follow up on that, what's your least favorite level in a speedrun sense? I mean, I know you've talked a lot of smack about Antland's boss, but is there another level that's more frustrating on the whole?
Probably Cakeland, in honesty. Especially the last room in Cakeland is awful. In particular, if you make any mistake, you have to restart the entire area or that whole room, and there's a lot of spots you can make mistakes in that room. I think most people would agree most of the runners would agree that Cakeland is the worst, just because there's so many spots that you can make mistakes and have to redo it all.
Oh, for sure. And you'd say it's probably the worst for a blind player too, if someone was just going to, tackle this without any practice.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, yeah, probably Cakeland would probably be the worst.
Going to Kirk's stream real quick, as ACMLM looks like he's just about to finish up. I like this kind of 2D on 3D effect they did here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Kirk doesn't like it, as that is...
It also makes it really awkward because some of them aren't actually to the right or left. Some of them are, you have to jump downwards to get to them. And it's hard to tell because of the background. They did this again in Chameleon Twist 2. But if anyone's ever seen Chameleon Twist 2, it's a very, very, very different run.
Yeah.
So they're incredibly generous with respawn points. So a lot of the run is jumping and gliding until you hit the next respawn point, respawning, and then doing the same thing through the entire level.
Yeah, that gave us some really cool skips. We actually considered using that one instead of this game, but there's so much randomness between like item pickups and whatnot that increase your speed. We just decided to go with this one. But either way, they're both quite different but pretty cool speedruns.
For sure.
Sorry, my Discord actually died on me there for a second.
Oh, nice.
But, hopefully you didn't get asked this already, Boney. Why did you choose Chameleon Twist 1 over 2? That's
He just answered that.
Well, check the VOD sent.
Oh, well, now I'll never know.
No, I'll quickly summarize it. 2 just has a lot of RNG and like item pickups and whatnot, and this game does not have that. So that was a factor.
Also to note on Kirk's stream, if you notice, the boss actually has an HP bar. This means he's on the bad version of the game. If I remember correctly, that means he can't do the cake skip.
Oh.
They fixed the training room thing. I might be wrong on that. It might not be the US version where they have this. It might be the GP. No, the GP can still do it. I think that they fixed it in that version though.
Huh, so there was actually a released patched version of Chameleon Twist.
Yep, and that's the only thing they fixed, if I remember correctly.
Alright. That's understandable, I guess.
Quill just confirmed that I am correct. Great. I did remember correctly. Yeah, unless he's on GP, in which case, even though there is HP boss, or HP for some of the bosses, you can still do the cake pause stuff. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually a really big fan that the any percent of this game uses the JP version and the all levels of it uses the US version. I love it when speed games have that kind of division where there are differences, but one isn't necessarily absolutely better than the other.
Oh yeah, for sure. That makes it more fun. Say, while we're waiting for some more people to finish up, the JP version, there's a lot of differences, especially some bosses. So Bombland boss in the JP version, instead of dropping like 1 to 3 bombs, he'll drop a lot. And it's hard to say because they kind of stack over each other. But I think you can one cycle that boss, which is kind of crazy. And if everyone remembers Jungle Land, there's a little waterfall section where they jump through the water. In the JP version, if you're in that water, you actually get slowed down. So you actually jump from rock to rock. It's faster that way. And then in Cake Land, there's some different rooms that are laid out a bit differently. But it's a lot of minor differences. And the final boss is probably the biggest difference. So the first portion of the boss, the first phase, is exactly the same. The second phase is just a little different. So he still does the straight shot and the rounded shot. However, if you go too close to him, he will stop doing whatever he's doing and run away from you. So you can't just run up to him and shoot him. You actually have to grab some and shoot him as he's moving. And it's Quill came up with a good way to get around it and deal with it, because the boss has actually kind of a pattern in terms of the way he moves when he moves from where he is to the next spot. But yeah, so the final boss is pretty bad in that regard. And Kirkyu is struggling in this room. He's trying to use the camera and it's just making things worse.
Oh, poor
Now we get to see how difficult it is to manipulate.
I think he accidentally... Oh no, he's on the title screen. Oh, he finished, right. Yes, I'm not very smart. I saw him fighting the cake boss and I was just like, oh no, I think he accidentally restarted the game instead of going back in. Wait a minute, he finished like 10 minutes ago.
I guess
people in chat are calling for you to come back to the game thing. Is it in the future? Is Chameleon Twist gonna happen?
Yes, actually, I plan on playing this game some more. So I recently finally have a video for my any percent time. So GDQ 2016, I was there with Purple Rupees, another runner of the game, and we were just doing races in the practice room. And I managed to get a 13 flat, which was a very good time at the time. Not so much anymore. But I still do runs on US. I'm going to switch to JP and cry a little bit. To learn custom vault, have to deal with JP final boss, and the room Kirkyu's in now actually in JP is another big difference. These platforms don't last nearly as long, so you pretty much need to grab, shoot, and go, or you'll fall.
Can you jump without that last platform?
Yes, in the first one you can.
Okay.
Second one you can't.
I always want to see people do that, but it's scary.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad of a jump. It's pretty forgiving. If you're lucky though, especially when it goes from like one wall to the next where it kind of changes angles, if you hit the next candle, sometimes the way they spawn, you can skip a candle, but it's straight RNG where these platforms spawn, so hard to say. So like this one, if you were to shoot the second one, he could get a lucky spawn worth where that one is, but yeah, no, not that time.
We can see Kirk isn't really experienced in this game in the sense that he knows the run, and he's really not going to finish. He'll probably get like double the first place time at worst, so it's, yet again, we'll say it's a really accessible game, and if anyone wants to get involved with speedrunning, this is honestly a really good point to start.
Yes.
Really, any of the seasons games are, just based on how short they are, but this is a very simple, straightforward one, so feel free to check it out. And we have a Discord command as well in chat that will link the Discord for, I assume it covers both Twist games?
Yes, it does indeed.
Cool, there you go. Yeah, join that. This is a great game to learn if you're getting involved.
And it's worth mentioning that this is the longer category.
Yeah.
There is a shorter any percent category.
Right.
You know,
Half the
sub
length.
12 minutes if you're great.
Yep. It's probably like 12. I think the fastest you can get on US is like 12:30 or something, just because of some of the boss differences. But the JP, I think they said like 11 flat was, if I remember, it's about how fast they think it could go.
That's pretty good. You know, actually, while we're talking about, you know, aspiring new Chameleon Twist runners, how hard is it to find a cartridge of Chameleon Twist or Chameleon Twist 2?
Not 2 I can't speak for, but 1 it's not that bad. I mean, if you order it off Amazon, I would say they run about $13, so it's not bad. And most of the stores, when I've gone to retro gaming store, I'd say 50% of the time they have Chameleon Twist.
I think 2 might be like twice the price, but it's still cheaper than a lot of 64 games.
I mean that makes sense. It's twice the Chameleon.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
you're getting a lot of Chameleon for your value.
absolutely. Alright. Kirky's coming up with the final boss. Let's see if he can. We'll just see how this goes.
Definitely deciding not to try and do the tongue spring through the stage. Just walking through the area normally.
Yeah. So you can easily get like a sub 13 on US any percent without doing that custom vault.
Okay.
But you do have to get the frame perfect pause for Kick Boss.
Well, there you go. ACMLM actually just mentioned in chat that he picked up a cart, so it looks like there might be at least one new Chameleon Twist runner.
Nice. That's awesome.
Alright, I think we're finishing up here. Kirk will be the last runner that we highlight. Pretty much everyone's going to be finishing up around the same time, I would bet, just based on experience.
Yeah, 17 runners of the 23 in this race have already finished, and I
Yep.
can't imagine any of the 6 remaining taking more than just a couple more minutes.
Oh yeah.
Even in a blind race, this would take 90 minutes for an average person, maybe even less. Hard to say. It's not long. It's a short game.
I mean, I think we can call Kirkyu's run blind. More or
Yeah.
less.
Blindish.
Blindish, yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well, I think we're about done for the day. Sant, you wanna You want to say anything?
Yeah, we have a couple of announcements before we wrap up. So first off, guys, GDQ stuff. We got Summer Games Done Quick coming up in just a couple of weeks. I'm actually kind of scared about it. You should join our Discord. We have a bot in there that says how long it is until the next event, and I'm fairly certain it's just there to give me an anxiety attack. That's going to be June 24th to July 1st. We have some important dates coming up related to that. The game schedule will be out on the 22nd, and the volunteer schedule will be out on the 30th. So if you volunteered, look out for that. Check the schedule and game schedule. Next week. I'm super excited for it. Can't wait for it to happen. Also, something important, prize submissions are open from now until June 10th. So if you have some prizes you want to submit, head over to our website, gamesdonequick.com. You'll find an easy submission guide for you, or you can head over to the contact us section where you'll find an email for the prize/sweepstakes coordinator. I believe it's prizes@gamesdonequick.com. Send us any questions you guys might have. And while you're there, if you have an idea for something to feature on the Hotfix, you have the info on the cool new speedrunning thing going down that you guys would like to get showcased, shoot an email over to hotfix@gamesdonequick.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from everyone in the community. But with that all said and done, Boney, I think it's just about time to go ahead and reveal Game 5 of Season 2.
Yeah, we're at about the halfway point in the season, so let's see what we got this week, or next week, I guess. Alright, we got Mega Man 3 next week. We're gonna go back to a bit more of a popular game choice. We got Mario in the beginning, we got Quake, but we took a break and did some obscure games the last couple weeks. So let's go big. We got another quite hard game, I'd say. It's a bit slower than a game like Ninja 5.0, but there's a lot of stuff to learn in this game. It's also the longest game that we'll feature in the season so far. Even a good run in this game takes like in the mid 30-minute range, so this one's going to be a bit of a marathon compared to the others.
I'm pretty excited for this, Boney. We're going straight from chameleons and cake to snakes and shadows.
Yep.
Trying to find the words.
Well said. Yeah.
The alliteration is difficult, but yeah, Mega Man 3. It's an incredibly optimized game. There's so many little tricks you can go for to save seconds, and so many tricks you have to go for if you want to be competitive at the run at all. It's going to be really exciting to see what our runners can do in a week. I'm sure some of them aren't completely blind, and some of them are going to have to go in it purely from scratch.
Yeah, it's going to be a doozy. And it's a nice welcome back to Darkman as well, to his hosting duties next week. We know how much he loves Mega Man games, so he'll probably be running the show. But yeah, yep. I'm excited. Mega Man 3, get ready.
Mega Man 3, Season 2, Game 5. Get ready for it. As a reminder, guys, SRL seasons, 9 weeks of games. That was week 4. We still have at least 5 more games to go, as well as the top 16 bracket. Head over to speedrunslive.com. Head over to the SpeedRunsLive IRC. Check all of that stuff out. You're going to want to see it. All the info you need is going to be right there. And it's not too late to join. You still can make top 16.
Yeah,
if you join in next week, easily.
Yeah, right now, even some of the people who are going into the races just completely blind, who are joining every week, are actually in contention. So it's not too bad. It's not too hard. Put some time in, and you got a good shot.
But Boney, Big Chang, thank you guys so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
And a huge shout out to our tech person, Muffins, behind the scenes, making sure everything works. So guys, that's going to be it for the Hotfix for today, but don't go anywhere because we're actually going to host our friends out west over at Calithon, who are putting on a wonderful marathon. Right now, they have a Castlevania 3 Alucard % run by An Graveri. Go say hi to them, give them some love from us, and until next week, we'll see you then.